Hey, hang on just a second. I need to
Ah!
hydrate just a little bit here. Just tickling in the throat. Oh, what's this? Is that? Oh, hey.
Hello?
Can you hear me, man?
I can hear you.
Hey, how are you?
I'm all right. How are you doing?
I'm very, very well. Very well, man. I am, I have to be honest with you. I might be just a little bit of a fan.
All right.
And this is the first chance that I've had in my career to actually connect with you. So it is an absolute honor to finally talk to you, man.
Well, hell yeah. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
And your name is again are we calling you Meatball?
Yeah, Meatball, brother. Meatball.
All right.
Yeah. It feels weird, like, introducing myself to anybody else other than Meatball. Like, if I say my real name, it's like, oh, it feels so foreign. It's like when your parents use your middle name, you know? It's like,
right.
Oh, it feels so weird.
Well, cool. Well, it's nice to meet you.
Hey, dude, it is an absolute pleasure. Well, first thing out the gate, man, how are you? How are things? Everyone healthy? Everyone good to go?
Yeah, I mean, everyone seems to be all right at the moment. We're just sort of getting all the things ready, you know, like it's been so long. It's been like 2 years since we've hit the road. So it's like, oh man, it feels like I'm going back to school, you know?
Right.
I need some new clothes, right? I mean, I've been wearing the same clothes for the last 2 years. Like, you know, I'm not much of an attire man. So it's like,
right.
So I like today it was like go out and pick out a few things and, you know, just really kind of getting ready for it, you know, making sure I have all the supplies I need for, you know, the downtime, because there's all these protocols that are going to be in place, and you know, and so just trying to figure out ways to kill the time when we're not on stage. So
right.
But yeah, I mean, so far so good. Everyone's healthy, you know, and we're looking forward to it.
You guys should do, like, you know, everyone does their first day of school photos. Should be like first day of tour photos, you know?
Yeah, for real, right.
You know, you did mention you guys are going back out on the road. This is like the first time in almost 2 years. You know, are you feeling any kind of nerves about it? Because, I mean, it's been a while since you've been off the road this long.
Yeah, you know, at first I did. But I think that's why we chose, you know, we did like a stretch of 10 days of rehearsal just to like kind of get us, you know, back into the swing of like playing together and, you know, just getting our heart rate up, really. You know, because there's so much muscle memory involved, and you don't realize like how much, you know, just adrenaline kind of kicks in when you're up there. Which, you know, even in a rehearsal, you're not going to get to emulate. So we tried to just do as much as possible to just get some sort of feeling, some of those feelings back. And you know, after the 10 days, you know, we're pretty psyched. We're positive. You know, it feels good. It sounds good. So we'll see, you know.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now, when you guys do hit the road, you know, you're going to be offering support, or early support rather, for the upcoming album. We got the new song Shoulders, which is fantastic. At the moment, we only know that the next album is going to be Vaxis Act 2.
Yes.
From the first one. Now, am I right in understanding? I saw a previous interview, I think from last year, or maybe earlier this year. You had a title for it. Are you still going to move forward with said title that you had? It was like Hallelujah Quarantine, I think, is what it was.
No. No. So like, yeah, that happened to be a song I was working on before lockdown. And, you know, after like working on it, I just thought, you know, especially like living in New York at a time where everything was really like, we just didn't know at that time. Was it March of 2020? Mm-hmm. You know, I abandoned the song. It just felt a little too insensitive, you know, and not because it was like mean or anything. It's just the timing it wasn't right for a tune like that. Who knew? I didn't know. I wrote a song and that's what the chorus screamed, and then all of a sudden, you know, the world is in a lockdown and we're experiencing the global pandemic. It's like, all right, this is not right. So I abandoned it, and yeah, so that song's not going to participate in the record, but there is an album title. I can't really reveal it at the moment, but one that makes sense for the part of the story that this record will tell. So I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait for, to reveal it to everyone. I think the art looks incredible. I mean, it's going to be great.
We do have Shoulders now. We got to listen to it. We've seen some videos that you put out with your music where it's, visualizers with what you've got in the graphic novels and stuff. This one is more of a band performance kind of video. Tell us about the song maybe and the concept with the video, and then maybe how it fits into the story of Vaxis.
Well, yeah. So, a bit of the song is about just, I think it plays off a lot of like being a band that's been around for 20 years and just fighting for everything that we kind of believe in the music that we put out. So, I think for me, that was where I was coming from with the song. Like, just, no matter, how much I love what I do as the creator of, the music and the concept, it's not going to be for everyone. And it's like kind of realizing that, but that shouldn't make me love it or, fight for it any less, and so that's kind of where that plays into it. And I think I took that idea and I transferred it to the two characters in the story of Siv and Gob, who were actually the artwork. Right. They're two brothers in the story, and you'll learn about them. I mean, I don't know, Meatball, if you're going to get into the concept side of it with the deluxe or anything, but they have a dynamic. One of the brothers is in this situation because of something he had done in the past to help Sister Spider, one of our main protagonists, and you kind of see what the relationship of the two brothers are, the one carrying the other and sure. Feeling like he's got the world on his shoulders. He's housing his brother, literally on his shoulder. So yeah, it's, so there's definitely a real world idea to the song. And then of course one where I translated into the fiction. But yeah.
I really appreciate that about Coheed's music, because like even people who are not as in depth into, the graphic novels and the storytelling and stuff, there's still, like you said, that real world element to, what you write that, maybe they don't know these characters, they don't know the story. They can still apply these stories to things that they've gone through in their life.
Absolutely. And, a lot of that has to do with, when I started writing for a band, I was, insecure. I was uncomfortable being the voice, the headpiece of the band, and that's why I created a science fiction concept to basically hide my true story in it.
Right. And,
I've been doing it now 20 years. It just feels natural for me to do it, like, going forward. So yeah, so that, there's always going to be that universal theme, I mean, sure, some Coheed songs are just like, me as a lyricist, it can be a bit perplexing, but I think Shoulders is a pretty clear, straight ahead, interpretation, it just a vibe of what I've done. And, right. And again, it's a universal theme and one that I then apply to a piece of fiction. So I don't, cool. So not to ostracize like people that just want to hear music and not dive into Star Wars or something.
Right. Now for the people that maybe are, fans of the whole ethos and stuff, specifically with the song Shoulders, am I wrong in assuming that the little fading guitar lick at the end is maybe a nod to
It could be, yeah.
I'm throwing it out there.
I mean, there's a lot of that stuff. A lot of reoccurring themes that happen in Coheed songs, and one could be because it is an overarching concept and themes should kind of reoccur like they would in like a John Williams score from a Star Wars movie, not to keep throwing that reference out there. But, we're also, we've also been doing it 20 years. It's sometimes, those things just kind of perk up and you don't even think about it, right. But yeah, it's something that I definitely embrace.
Sure. For those maybe not as familiar with the ethos of the band, the majority of your music and your albums, they're all, part of this concept, all story based, and mostly, series of these graphic novels that you put out. When you're conceptualizing all this stuff, are you writing the stories first, or are you doing it with the music in mind, or is it like a combination of, which one comes first?
It's a little bit of both. Like for the story part, I understand like where I want to go with the story. Like, especially now, like we're now almost 10 stories into the saga, if I'm correct. And so sometimes I understand where I want the story to go, but a lot of it is like based on real stuff. I mean, I think these Vaxis stories are very much influenced by this chapter of my life, being a dad. I mean, Vaxis is when I look at the character of Vaxis, I see my son. That's where I think I'm coming from. Whereas like the earlier Coheed records, I foolishly put myself in them as a character, but I played the child of Coheed and Cambria. I was me in my adolescence, a teenager, and I wrote songs about that stage of my life, and that's where I was in it. Now I see myself as the father, and navigating, just life as a dad, and that's really what kind of inspires the music. And then I just kind of transform that into what I think makes sense, and what feels fantastic in a science fiction sense.
It's interesting that you mentioned, the Vaxis story is largely built on, the idea of like you being a father and your son, when, if I remember right, the first album, Turbine, is based on, the title was based on a piece that your father built in production. Is that right?
Yeah, my dad. So my dad worked at a company called Chromaloy. It was it's basically a blue collar job. He worked on a heat treatment for like airplane parts, and one of them that he worked on was the second stage turbine blade. So I remember when we were talking about what he did for a living before that record came out, and I remember really being attracted to the way that came out of his mouth, and me creating a concept, and second stage turbine blade being the second part in the Coheed and Cambria Amory Wars. I thought, well, this is perfect. Like, so yeah, like, yeah. And, and then the Coheed character, which I loosely based off of him, in those beginning scenes, he's coming out of a factory, doing that sort of, 9 to 5 situation, and, until his life is completely turned upside down. But yeah, that is true.
Now like you said, you've spent about 20 years now with this storyline, and we mentioned the earlier records, the Amory Wars initially, and then it all ended with this album right here.
Uh-huh.
And I'm pretty much just doing this so I can show how big a fan I am, actually. But no, you did the initial the Neverender series albums, and then you had Black Rainbow, which was a precursor to that. And then the Afterman, which honestly, Afterman is quite possibly one of my favorite series of records that you guys have done. And I don't know what drew me to that one specifically, but maybe it was the storytelling specifically about that one, how it was just kind of broken up. I don't know. Is there a favorite chapter of the Amory Wars universe that you've done so far?
I do very much love Afterman. I think at the moment I'm really enjoying Vaxis, just because I have so much behind me. A lot of those records were learning curves for me, especially in the story sense, second stage, in keeping, like, I just took a shot at creating something that I'd never done before. I knew how to write music, but like translating into something else. I mean, I had been doing that as a kid, right, but never on this scale. Never like, oh, well, I'm going to do records that are going to live within this mythology, and I'm going to continue it till the day I die. It's like, that wasn't, I was learning on those early records. And I think now when I saw Vaxis 1 come out, the Unheavenly Creatures, and just the whole presentation, like, I saw, with Chase Stone's art and the book coming out at the same time.
Yeah, if you haven't known, there's the art right there, the cover art, which is just fantastic.
Yeah,
just like unbelievable.
I think of that, and I think of, like, I wish, had I known what I do now, that would have been what second stage would have looked like. Like, going back, I think, trying, that's why Vaxis feels like such a new beginning to me, like a part 1 of a 5-story thing that, just feels right. Like, maybe if I had a second chance, I would have started the whole thing like that. And so,
would you consider going back and maybe reconceptualizing like a deluxe edition of that Neverender series, like with a little more detailed art and like the cover and stuff? Because I mean, you have the graphic novels, and those are all really, really bright and really sharp, and it has, you know, all the beautiful artwork in there, obviously. But like, if you're talking about like the cover art and stuff, would you ever consider going back and reconceptualizing that?
I would. I mean, you know, we always talk about potentially going back and doing Second Stage. I mean, just Second Stage was a record we did in someone's bedroom. You know, they were demos that we were showcasing to Equal Vision, the independent label out of Hudson, New York, that we were, you know, interested in being in business with. And like, you know, when they came at us and said, you know, this is it, like, you guys got it. We were like, whoa, we were so surprised. We thought, oh, well, these are just demos that we, you know, we're hoping to get a deal with. And like, you know, so in a way, yeah, I would love to see what, you know, a 2021 version of Second Stage would sound like. Would it be better? I don't know. It'd be different. Just because, you know, you can never beat that time capsule. You know, that would never be the idea. It wouldn't be like, oh, we got to beat this thing. It's like, even with all its flaws, it's got a ton of charm, you know? So it would just be about reconceptualizing it, like you're saying, you know, and so we'll see, maybe.
Yeah. A lot of the earlier music too with Coheed, a lot of people associate it with kind of the emo pop punk, punk era, you know, of music. And then when you get to, you know, that final record on the Amory Wars, on the Neverender series, you get to Welcome Home. And that is such a beefy, chunky, hard rock song. And it shows, I think, you know, the growth maybe of the sound of Coheed there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think, you know, after, you know, Second Stage, it was so, you know, we were brand new. We were just starting to play together. Josh had just like kind of joined the band, and that's the one where we're just kind of getting to know each other. But we have all of these things that we're influenced by, and we never wanted a type of music to kind of define us. You know, we weren't a punk rock band. We weren't a this band or that band. We were just a bunch of guys that loved a lot of things and weren't afraid to showcase them in the art that we were putting out there. So, you know, you definitely kind of see that flex a little bit in Keeping Secrets. And then I think we really go for it with Good Apollo 1. And we continue to do that, I think. I mean, you'll definitely hear it on things on Vaxis 2 or the last record, Vaxis 1, Unheavenly Creatures. I think even Afterman has a ton of, you know, oddities with Gravity's Union and Number City, you know, Hard Sell. You know, there's a lot of flexing that happens with the band.
And maybe that's what drew me to the Afterman, the Afterman albums, was that there was a lot of singular elements that all kind of coalesce together, I guess, for lack of a better word. Like it was, like you said, there was a lot of those different influences, and each song kind of had its own character, whereas, you know, the previous albums are all pretty, you know, overarching storyline. This had its own little chapters within it, and I wonder if maybe that lended itself to that.
Yeah, I think so. You know, what was so fun about that is the key entities. I don't know if we want to get like too deep, but like, but you know, like just though, I think that was, you know, like trying to embody the ideas of these personalities in song, like, and so much so that even the titles had them written in them, like Domino the Destitute, Hollywood the Cracked, like, you know, I think that definitely like had some influence on it. Like, how do I make this sonically feel like this entity that is trapped in a place that they just long to get out of?
Right.
So I don't know if that answers the question, Meatball.
No, absolutely does. Yeah. And now you did have one album that you did, and I genuinely loved it. The Color Before the Sun.
Right.
When you wrote that record, that was more kind of your life experiences at the time, right? Oh, I lost your audio, Claudio.
Oh, there you are. Oh, hold on. Now, like, for some reason, so strange. Why are you? Oh, no. I got you now. So you were saying The Color Before the Sun.
Yeah.
You like that? But
Yeah,
what was your
absolutely.
question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I was asking. It's the non-concept album that Coheed and Cambria has put out, but it's not necessarily entirely false or true, rather, because it was kind of a concept you were writing about, like things going on in your life at that time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So the color before the sun, even the title, it was just kind of a play on the idea of of the feelings I had before fatherhood. So
I
like
got
the
you. Okay.
color, and there were things that were going on, like our house had been turned into a grow house and got completely destroyed
Oh
while
my
we were
gosh.
living in the city. Yeah, it was all sorts of wild stuff, but it was just that, like, just, anticipating fatherhood. And I thought, and that's why I took the concept away for that record, because I thought, wow, I'm never going to feel these feelings again, like for the first time in my life.
Mhm.
And that's why I decided, to do away with the concept and just kind of let my life be the concept. Although that's always the case with the records, and I always transfer them into concepts. This one, I said, let's just make it about the emotions and not try to hide it in the facade of science fiction. Let's
Right.
just be real about it.
Did it feel different when you were writing that record? Like, did it have a different feel, a different tone to it, like altogether?
I mean, I think so. I think that was like the first time where songs were really straight ahead and like concise. I mean, with the exception of the song "The Audience," I mean, we really kind of stay within this, like, we're getting our point across kind of structure,
I gotcha.
and I almost feel like the song "Audience" was just enough of a nod to, like, the diehard children of the fence, like, don't worry, we're
Yeah.
not completely abandoning this vibe of what we do, and why it's called "The Audience." And yeah, so
Yeah. Hey, hang on just a second. I need to
ah!
hydrate just a little bit here. Just, yeah, tickling in the throat. Oh, what's this? Is that? Oh, hey. All right, yeah. So another thing you guys have ventured into is the coffee, and
Yes.
I have to tell you, I think this is my sixth bag of the Beast that I've gone
Oh,
through.
great.
I love the Beast. I have not had what's the white bag? That's
The Knowledge.
the Knowledge. I have not had the Knowledge yet, but I've been so stuck on this one. And then I saw you just recently released the Inferno as well. So
Yep.
whose idea was it to jump into the coffee game?
Well, Blaze, our manager, brought it up to me, and Chandra and I, for a long time, like, that's like part of my early morning ritual, was going out into the neighborhood and getting Chandra coffee, and myself. And so when he brought the idea to me, I loved it, just because, I love to drink coffee, and I thought, why not? Let's give it a go. But the concept behind it needs to be right. And so we started to think about, well, what would we do to make this fit? And so I thought, well, why not curate the profiles of the coffee to taste like somewhat like the alter egos of the Coheed and Cambria characters, the Beast being Coheed, Knowledge being Cambria, Inferno being like the mainframe Inferno. So I curated the Beast. The Beast I love. I curated that after what I sort of go for in the morning, and Knowledge I kind of backed off on the bite, just to, give you something maybe like a mid-afternoon, like pick me up, something that's not so aggressive. Not that it's aggressive, because it doesn't feel like, it's not aggressive to me, to some, maybe. Right. And then the Inferno was more of like a single origin, kind of playing off of like the fact that Inferno is a clone of the creator of the Coheed and Cambria outfit.
I gotcha. Very cool.
So yeah, so that was pretty much it. But I loved it. It was a lot of fun. We went back and forth on those profiles. Especially the Beast. I just really wanted to get it right, and I think we got it there. So yeah, I mean, I think it's something we'll continue to play around with. There's a lot of characters we can base, flavors off of. So we'll see.
Yeah, it was a big surprise when I saw it come across, because I think that started last year, and I was like, oh, I'm definitely buying bags of this. And then this coffee tumbler is quite possibly like, every time I carry this around, everyone thinks I'm walking around with like a Beats speaker, and I'm like, no, man, that's what my coffee goes into, man. They're like, that is super cool.
Right, that's awesome. Thanks, man. Thanks for like supporting the the coffee and everything. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Now, one thing you guys are getting ready to do after you go out on your tour, you are doing something in December called the SS Neverender. Now, if I'm to understand this correctly, it is similar to the Neverender tour that you did in 2008. Are you doing 4 nights of the 4 records?
Did you go to London?
I wasn't at London, so I had a chance to go see the New York show. And I didn't get to. I do own the DVDs, and I've watched it no less than probably 60 times.
All right.
But the London poster came up as an opportunity with a friend of mine who lives in London, and he knew I was a giant fan, so he was like, "It's yours if you want it," and I said, "I will pay anything for it." So,
so sick.
Yeah, so I had to yank this off the wall in my apartment to bring it in today.
Right.
But yeah, you guys, you did the Neverender shows in like 2008, and it was 4 nights in like, I think it was 4 different cities. You did New York, Chicago, London, and LA maybe?
Yep.
And you did 4 nights. Each night was, each one of those albums in the Neverender series. Now you're doing the SS Neverender, the cruise ship, in December, and I assume it's going to be the same concept, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it'll be 4 because there's only 2 nights, and I think like half the ship goes one night and the other half the second. So I think we're probably, because we're coming upon our 20th year in March, we might just celebrate some of the earlier material, more second stage, maybe in keeping error stuff. So we'll see. I mean, I think that's like kind of the vibe at the moment. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of nervous about the cruise, not necessarily because of the pandemic, but more so because I don't know how my body's going to react on the sea.
Get your sea legs while you're up there playing guitar.
Yeah. So,
you just right in the middle of Welcome Home through the guitar solo, and you just suddenly get seasick right in the middle of it.
Yeah, man, that might happen.
No, I'm sure it'll be fine, man. I'm sure just take whatever it is, the little pill that they give you.
Oh, right, Dramamine.
Dramamine, yeah. Just take a little Dramamine. You'll be fine. You'll be totally fine, man. Well, we're super stoked, man. You're going to be here September 7th at the Wave here in Wichita with The Used. It'll be my umpteenth time seeing you guys. My first time actually seeing The Used. So it's going to be just an incredible show. And Mimi at the Altar is on that tour with you too. Kind of a surprising, new, great act.
Right on. Awesome. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the whole thing. A little like side trivia. Like we went out with The Used back in like the second stage era of the band. We were opening up for them back when we were in a band. So it's really interesting to come now 20 years and play with them again. People have changed. I mean, we haven't really kept in much contact, but it's going to be interesting to, just see where people's lives are at.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And Meet Me at the Altar is like, kind of a band that just got on my radar. So I'm really looking forward to watching them too. I mean, with all the, who knows? I mean, with all the like protocols in place for the tour, like, will I even get to see anyone play? I'm not even sure yet. Like, so we'll see.
Well, we're really looking forward to it, man. I'm stoked for it. This has been an absolute total fanboy moment for me, if you haven't been able to tell. This is just an absolute pleasure, man. It has been an absolute blast, and we love you guys here in Wichita. Can't wait to see you, and we're stoked for September 7th, man. I'm going to be ready.
Awesome. That sounds great, Meatball.